Hello folks, welcome back to another video. I haven't posted for a while. Just want to give a very quick update for the channel, why I haven't posted for a while and what's upcoming. I'm going to try and do this as quickly as I can. So this Friday I'm off to ABR Festival for the first time, so if anyone has any advice, things I should look out for, try, do, please stick a comment down below. I've never been, don't know what I'm letting myself in for. And then the end of next week I'm off to Europe with Bruce, Teapot One, for one of his, clam ride outs, so I'm looking forward to that. I've just recently done 2 Scotland trips, 3 days each. Lot of footage, I need to edit it. The first one is nearly ready. I just need to put some music, etc. on there. Because I'd want to do more stuff where I'm not just talking to the camera, showing a product, blah blah blah. Anyway, I do have some product reviews on the way. Colite sent me their D09 Pros. Aochi have sent me their new BX, which has a blind spot monitoring built in. So those were sent free, but I do also have some things I've purchased myself, like the SW Motec Yukon tank bag, the Machineart Moto Mudsling, which is obviously the purpose of this video, and also the Roadskin Tyrannus jeans. So on those, like this video, there'll be no discount codes, no affiliate links. I get nothing out of it, just me reviewing a product that I've bought, like I say, with the exception of the Colite lights and the Aochi. So I have a favor. I want to do more bike reviews. Now, the last one that I did was the adventure version of my R1300, and I only got the bike for 2 hours, like most people. And I've been trying to get the Ducati Multistrada V4S to review. Tried 2 of the dealers local to me. One didn't even bother answering. One answered but hasn't responded since, which is obviously a shame. But I have reached out to a few others because there are some other bikes I want to review. And the answer that I seem to be getting to have a bike for longer than 2 hours is you don't have enough subscribers on either YouTube or Instagram. Now, firstly, I have nearly 17,000 subscribers and I love each and every one of you. I think I've already said this in the past. Last year me and my other half, we celebrated me getting to 1,000 subscribers, and I honestly didn't think I would be sat here with nearly 17,000. However, according to YouTube stats, less than 10% of the people that watch my videos subscribe. So obviously, if you don't like my videos, you're a one-time viewer, that's fine. I understand. I'm not going to sulk much, but it would mean the world if you do enjoy my videos and want to see more. Hitting that subscribe button, interacting with my videos, even if it's constructive feedback, and also if you do have Instagram, please do give me a follow over there at the stammering biker. Like I say, it would mean the world. The subscribers I have so far have enabled me to do some things I never thought I could. All these different Apple CarPlay units and things, it has been phenomenal. So like I say, I just want to make it clear, I am not ungrateful in any way. I cannot thank each and every one of you enough for subscribing and giving me the chance to have done what I have already. But like I say, it would mean the world if you could hit that subscribe button. Like I say, only if you enjoy my videos. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get on to this Machineart Moto Mudsling. Okay, so first of all, shout out to Nippy Normans. They didn't send me this for free. I paid for it, but as usual, the service was exceptional. I ordered it on Friday, and it arrived this morning before 12. So I've ordered quite a lot from Nippy Normans over the last 5 years. So once again, thank you very much. I will stick a link in the description to where you can purchase it on Nippy Norman's site. Like I said, I don't get anything out of it, but if you're in the UK, that's probably the most obvious place for you to buy it. I'll also stick a link for the Machineart Moto website if you're not in the UK, because I'm not sure where would be the best place to buy it. I didn't do an unboxing video because it is just a lump of plastic, four plastic sort of expansion screws, and this. So I didn't feel that was really warranted an unboxing. I did try to record me actually physically fitting it. However, my big fat head got in the way, couldn't get the lighting right, and this shed isn't particularly big. So what I am going to do is I'm going to, show some screenshots of the Nippy Norman site of the actual item itself. And then I'm just going to talk through how I fitted it, because I did slightly deviate from the instructions, and there were a couple of things that to me weren't quite as clear as I would have liked. Now that could be because I push a mouse and a keyboard around all day for a living, and I'm a bit of a cretin when it comes to anything mechanical or anything like that. But anyway, one thing I am going to say is I'm not going to weigh in too much on the subject. I had a Machineart Moto Mudsling on my R1300GS Adventure that I bought back in 2019, and I transferred that over to the 2023 one that I got. I realised that there is a whole debate over how much these items cost, because there's no getting around the fact it's a lump of plastic and it is expensive. And I know some people I've seen on various Facebook groups, they've bought Chinese copies from AliExpress, been very happy with them. I'm not going to weigh in on that and say what you should or shouldn't do. All I will say is the Machineart Moto stuff is exceptionally well made. Again, I know it's just injection molded plastic, but it is thick, hard plastic. It's very well made. The fit is spot on, and despite the price, I think it's worth it. That's all I'm going to say. If you want to buy a cheap copy, I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm not going to say that's right or wrong. Anyhow, right, okay, so I'm going to get on my hands and knees and I'm going to try to show how I fitted it, because in the instructions, which I'll put a screenshot up of now, it says, simply that you need to remove 4 plastic clips and slide the Mudsling on and insert 4 new longer ones that they provide. Now that is true. What they do actually recommend is that you remove the 2 T40 bolts from the left hand pillion hanger and remove that first for better access. Now I didn't do that for 3 reasons. A, I'm lazy. B, I have the pannier rails which also go on to the pillion hanger, and on both of my R1250 GSAs I had to remove the pillion hangers to fit some aftermarket SW Motec racks, and I snapped 3, I think, T40 Halfords Professional sockets trying to get the bloody bolts out. In the end I had to use an impact gun, and I think recently the Missenden Flyer and Lamb Chop also encountered the same problem. So I didn't want to do that unless it was absolutely necessary. So one thing that I wanted to highlight is, and I'll try to stick it up on the screen now from the instructions, and this isn't a criticism of Machineart Moto, because I think this is potentially something to do with the model year, or maybe the American market versus the European market, and arguably it doesn't take a genius to work out. But in the instructions, steps 2 and 3, they effectively ask you to remove the plastic screws. Now, on the pictures on the instructions, the 2 clips that hold on the little rubber flap that you actually get as standard that hangs down are shown on the instructions as, I'll see if I can get, are shown as sort of, that you might not be able to see that. No, you're not. These that have got what looks like a sort of hex, like a sort of, you know, Torx bit in the end of it. But in actual fact, on mine, they're not. They're these smaller ones. And again, I don't know if the camera will focus. They're these ones that are very tiny, and you basically have to push the pin in the middle, all the way through. But for step 3, the 2 that you have to take out on the sides, it shows them as the screw-in type, which on mine, the ones at the side are the ones that have a little Torx, you know, head on them. Like I say, it's not a big deal. Just wanted to call it out. But the other thing that I noticed was that it does say to you, do not remove the cover. Now it means the plastic, you know, cover that's underneath the bike that has the sort of, you know, vented pattern on it. It doesn't explicitly say it in the instructions, but regarding the rubber mud flap, it doesn't say to remove the mud flap. But I suppose it's, in hindsight, it's kind of obvious. Once you take the 2 little clips out, the mud flap falls off, and there's no way to hold it in place and get the new one on. But yeah, the mud flap, that needs to come out. What I did find is with these 2, to get the mud flap off for step 2, I just used a sort of pin to push the middle piece all the way through and out the back, and it basically fell on the floor. And I did that for both sides, and then the entire mud flap just, you know, that literally came off. I did try to push the pin in a bit and then use like a sort of, you know, plastic, you know, pry tool to try to get it out, but it was super tight. So in the end, I just pushed the pin all the way through, and it fell out and everything came off. And then for these, the ones with the little Torx head, or what looks like a little Torx head that are on the sides, I just used quite a wide flat bladed, you know, stubby, you know, screwdriver, and just prised that up a little bit, and then used a plastic, you know, pry tool to then get it out, you know, similar to this one, which, like I say, I don't know if it will focus, but that's basically what I used. So I'm just going to move the camera, try and get some lighting, and just basically show you how it goes in. The instructions are pretty straightforward. Like I say, it took me about 15 minutes. Most of that was trying to get out the two little plastic clips that hold the rubber mudguard on. The rest went, you know, swimmingly, and I didn't need to remove either of the pillion pegs. Right, so if I've managed to get this lighting right, what you will see is there is the mudsling in place. Basically what I did was I laid it flat on here and just, you know, slid it in to place, and then it clips around the side. So let's try to get the camera up in here. So like I say, you'll see that there are these, let's try to get it to focus on the spot. So there are these, those are the two new screws, the one there on the left and also on the right, which is where the original mud flap was. And then around here at the side, you will see is the two new ones there. It's a very very hard to show it on camera. So yeah, and there's an identical one on the other side. Now what I will say is I ended up having to use quite a stubby screwdriver to get to these two. You know, obviously without removing the rear wheel, I couldn't get a full length screwdriver in. But the clips need a fair amount of pressure as you're actually screwing them. But once they're in, they're fine. And this thing is rock solid. It's not going anywhere. Anyway. Right, now I'm all red in the face. I know that was a little bit hard to see, which is why I didn't film me trying to actually fit it. Trying to get the camera to focus on the right spot and not get my head in the way was incredibly difficult. But yeah, you know, if I can fit it, you know, anyone can. So yeah, hopefully the next video that you'll see will be the first of the Scotland rideouts. And like I say, if you're off to a ABR festival, you know, give me a shout, and I'd love to see any of you. All right, speak to you soon. Bye bye.